Listen to this audio track. It's a barrage of animal noises, endless loops of wow, 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 and heat meow, colliding randomly with deeply alarming medical and disciplinary dialogue like, oxygen levels look good, and this is your final warning. Adults stumbling across this on a tablet screen usually dismiss it as digital brain rot. The audio sounds like algorithmic garbage, engineered strictly as nonsensical sensory noise to keep toddlers staring at a screen. But if we strip away the cartoon cats and mute the constant repetitive sound effects, a completely different structure begins to emerge from the raw dialogue. This sequence functions as a hyper-accelerated microcosm of human civilization, mapping out the core pillars of a society in under 5 minutes. We are going to geographically and thematically map out the institutions hidden within this text, taking the chaotic dialogue and plotting it onto a structured civic blueprint. Finding order in this digital chaos reveals the hidden, underlying architectures creators use to capture and hold human attention. Every society begins with basic needs. On our civic map, the first foundational pillar that drops in is shelter and commerce. The video's opening lines establish a new home, instantly followed by the purchase of a fresh papaya. The characters immediately engage in a barter and purchasing economy, defining value and exchange within the first few seconds. Then, the narrative whips from an idyllic fruit transaction straight into high-stakes medical trauma. A kitten takes a tumble, and the peaceful market is replaced by an intensive care unit. The language used here is clinical. The dialogue shifts to tracking heart rates and ensuring oxygen levels look good, establishing a distinct, highly technical healthcare sector. The script explicitly states, here is the payment for kitten's treatment, and only then does the doctor confirm the treatment will go ahead immediately. Capital must be exchanged before life-saving care begins. These first two sectors reveal a society built on strict transactional logic and physical survival, disguised by a bright, animated aesthetic. Once a society manages physical survival, it requires a system for maintaining social order and enforcing assimilation among its citizens. This bar chart emerging from the schoolhouse tracks the escalating behavioral infractions mentioned in the script. The empathetic tone of the hospital disappears, replaced by the authoritarian demands of a teacher ordering a student to turn to page 23 and noting that it is the 3rd time you've been late this week. The dialogue introduces a heavy psychological burden here. The young character asks, "What if they don't like me?" outlining the fear of social rejection and the pressure to conform to institutional rules. Moving away from individual trauma and discipline, the narrative transitions to the final foundational need of civilization, which completes our map. The transcript resolves on agricultural labor. The characters must ensure every plant gets enough water, emphasizing resource management and long-term sustainability. With the farm established, this micro-society is functionally complete. In just a handful of lines, the script successfully simulates commerce, trauma care, social conditioning, and sustenance. Looking at the completed map, we can see an incredibly dense infrastructure of human experience packed into just a few minutes of audio. This technique is called narrative compression. Narrative compression is a storytelling method where complex events and emotions are drastically shortened to fit within a tight time frame. Why does so much extreme human experience need to be compressed into such a tiny window of time? The answer lies in the economic reality of modern media platforms. Downtime is the enemy of retention, forcing creators to eliminate any narrative breathing room that might give the viewer a chance to click away. The algorithm demands relentless, escalating momentum. It uses universal human anxieties, like the threat of a dying child in a hospital, or the fear of rejection in a classroom, as fuel to keep the viewer paralyzed and watching. The repetitive wow and meow sounds function as sensory packaging, anchoring a young viewer's attention while the narrative progresses through its high-stakes beats. The video utilizes this concentrated sequence of societal pressures to sustain engagement, ensuring that even in a world of animal noises, the viewer remains tethered to a high-speed loop of survival logic.